Let me ask you one question. You try to, anybody can define history. Good point. ये मैं इसी मुद्दे के लिए पहले आ गया. It's very good. Thank you. मैं सोच के जो बैठा था उस पैटर्न में फिट हो गया आपका मुद्दा एकदम. Past. Is past a history? Lots of things happen every day. In the past, yesterday, I wore different clothes. Is that part of a history? Today morning, I had some nashta. What was the food? Is that a part of a history? Well, it may be part of food history, but not relevant to us. Overall, when you say in the larger sense, what is the history about? Anybody from northeast of India? Have you ever visited northeast of India? 1, 2 people, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So there is, yes, आखिरी में 2-3 है. There is a very derogatory statement about Arunachal Pradesh that I came to know when I was there for some time in 2014, 2015. And the people there said, some outsiders who were in Arunachal for a long time, serving the people there, but they said there is a comment that Arunachal Pradesh has no history, it has only geography. Can you understand what do they mean by that? Arunachal has no history. Well, people have been inhabiting that part of earth for centuries. There are people, communities, tribes living there for centuries. They have their own change, they have their own politics, they have their own chiefs. Tribal warfares are rampant even आजकल तो बहुत कम हो गए, but until very recently they still carry that दाव, तलवार होती है, डर लगता है जाने में, right? So my point is that there have been political happenings, there have been battles and wars and change in territory, etc. over hundreds and thousands of years. Still, if somebody says it has no history, what does it mean? It has past and not history. अब बताओ. Significant events. Significant events. Significant for whom? Again, there is subjectivity. Maybe something is significant for chief, not for the common people. For one community, not for the another. Right? So, your significance can become little bit a slippery slope for us. You are somewhat in the correct direction, but not completely. Yes? Historian तो आप भी बन सकते, मैं भी बन सकता हूँ, है ना? Migrant is not necessary. In that case, the region where nobody went, ऐसे नहीं होता है. देखो, history is primarily a study of change, not study of past. इसको आप दिमाग में डाल दो. Study of change and not study of past. When I say change, what do I mean? There has to be change in technology. There has to be change in economy. There has to be change in social structure, some political structure. वरना वही युद्ध चल रहे हैं साल लगातार. It's just a repetition. It's a cycle going on. If there is some kind of fundamental change in social, economic, political, technological structure, only then we are interested in studying that. So that part of the past which helps us to underline change and continuity, that is history. Change and continuity. Study not of the past but of change and continuity. क्या change होता है, क्या change नहीं होता है, and क्यों? Now, if we get obsessed over only past as a term, it appears as if the narrative, the dates, the events are extremely important, and that's why in school we hated history. The many आप लोग, ठीक है? So mostly people hated history because they thought it's about events and dates. रटना पड़ता था. It is not that. It is actually about change. I'll tell you an example. Look at the books that were written in 1960s and 1940s and 1920s about history of modern India. The primary focus is on chapterization based on individual governor general. Benting आया, क्या हुआ? Dalhousie, Hastings, क्या हुआ? Warren, मतलब we take different chapters which are named by governor general and उनके policies, their effects, consequences, battles, wars, all those things. So that is a discarded version of history. We are no more interested, as if there is change in governor general, did it change history? We are interested in the larger structure, colonial structure, bureaucracy, economic exploitation. So these individuals don't matter much. There is exactly opposite saying in India's history. चाणक्य ने कहा है, राजा कालस्य कारणम we say no more. No more. It's about the larger structure. Colonial structure that we study, individuals don't matter much. Although they do matter. There is some agency, there is some action. But we have to focus for our understanding on larger process. So that is one thing I want to underline. History is not only study of past or past events or past dates. History is primary study of change and continuity in the past. That is one thing. Now, अब आते हैं second thing पे. What change to notice? क्या हो रहा है? क्या कहीं पे? What change? I'll tell you. Interesting story from my own past. I came to Warren in 2011. I went to a bookshop here. नाम भी लेता हूँ, सूद करके एक बुक शॉप उस जमाने में चलता था. I went to him. I wanted to purchase a history book of modern India. I wanted a specific author. He went inside to search for the book. It took 2-3 minutes. He came out with a very old copy. Pages became yellow. बहुत सारी dust थी. क्या भैया नया कॉपी दे दो. He just said, and it's a history book. नया क्या है इसमें? ले लो. What is new in history? History doesn't change. So why does the edition matter? He said, no, with every new edition, there is a change in the perspective. तो पॉइंट ये है कि चेंज आप नोटिस कैसे करोगे. नोटिस तब करोगे विच काइंड ऑफ चेंज. लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स चेंज. विच चेंज मैटर्स टू अस डिपेंड्स ऑन अस, नॉट ऑन द पास्ट. What I want to focus here is the question you ask will decide the answer you get from your past. But which question to ask is your and my concern right now, right here. So it's about present concerns and not past concerns. So history is about present. मैं आपको 2-3 कोड बताऊंगा बड़े अच्छे. I like them a lot. Point ये है कि if the edition of book was of 1970s, in 1970s maybe people were interested in different questions. The society was different, so they asked different questions, they got different answers. But today in 2020s we have different questions in our mind. इसीलिए every new edition, every new revision of history is important. It has to be done. If books are not rewritten, they get fossilized, they get outdated. History must be rewritten every time, but by following certain important academic criteria. वो अलग बात है. Because present is changing. We know there is a very famous saying in Cambridge lectures by a historian called E.H. Carr. You must have heard of him. E.H. Carr. E.H. Carr has said that history is a continuous dialogue between past and present. Is a dialogue between past and present. So either past or present, उसमें से कोई भी एक चीज चेंज होती है, हिस्ट्री का किताब चेंज होता है. So present questions determine what are our concerns. For example, 50 years ago, nobody bothered asking about climate change. But today, we think of climate change के policies मतलब impact of climate change in हड़प्पा. क्यों? डेटा पहले नहीं मिल सकता था. But the question was never raised because it is today's concern. Today we have a lot of interest in feminism. So when we criticize Raja Ram Mohan Roy, we focus not on his limitations but the negative things. The policies he brought for Satya abolition, the way debate happened actually constrained women's emancipation to some extent. Constrained, it's a negative point from feminist lens. So today we have interest in subaltern history, Dalit history. तो आज के कंसर्न चेंज होंगे तो क्वेश्चंस भी चेंज होंगे तो जवाब भी चेंज होंगे. हिस्ट्री विल बी रीरिटन. हिस्ट्री इज अबाउट प्रेजेंट. देयर इज अ 11 वॉल्यूम सीरीज कॉल्ड हिस्ट्री ऑफ सिविलाइजेशन बाय विल एंड एरियल ड्यूरांट. मेरी बड़ी इच्छा है कि मेरे अलमारी में वो किताब बहुत महंगी होती है, खरीदी नहीं आज. आई हैव सॉफ्ट कॉपी ऑफ सम ऑफ देम, बट एनीवे द पॉइंट इज दैट in that Ariel Durant has given a very nice quote in a small reduced version of that called The Lessons of History. छोटी किताब है उसमें. He says that the present, past में relationship क्या है? The past is the present unrolled for understanding and present is the past rolled up for action. Again, listen very carefully. Past is the present unrolled for understanding, and present is the past rolled up for action. So past and present are intertwined extremely. There is an Italian person called Vico. In Italian enlightenment, Vico, V-I-C-O. He gave a very succinct statement of that. He said, all history is contemporary. History never dies out. It lives within us, through us, every single day. That's why it becomes very political hot potato. Okay? All history is a contemporary history. आज के सवाल है, जो मर गए उनके सवाल नहीं है वो. So my second point was that it's about present. So the quotes of A.H. Carr, Ariel Durant and Vico, that was the single point. Change is to be noticed was the first point, and secondly, which change? The change in which we are interested today in present. Don't basic clear हो गए. Let us go to the third point. अब if you start asking the questions today to the past, maybe the question is the same, but answer may be different for you and me. Let us say there are multiple, because there is no single past, there is no single change. Change doesn't happen uniformly everywhere at the same time. Take example of Harappa. If I ask you what was this the situation of urbanization in India during Harappan era, what will you say? बड़े बड़े शहर थे. Is it true? It's true only for one corner of India, northwest, not entire India. Rather, on the majority geographical region of India, we have farming villages. We have people who are not even farming in. We have small towns. Urbanization is very important, salient aspect for northwest corner of India. If you come to Vedic era, we give entire chapter to Vedic India. But was there a Vedic India? It's only Western UP, Haryana. What about rest of India? So Vedas were composed in that part of India. So whatever history you can decode from Vedas belong to history of that region and those people. Maybe in the later centuries it became very important, so we have to go and study. I am not saying it is less important. I am saying whose history it is, which region, which part. Even today you have Banjara communities. Those who travel from city to city, place to place. This was the situation. All the Vedic Aryans, आज से 3000 साल पहले, 4000 साल पहले, 4000 साल पहले, right? But some people got settled, some did not. They are still stuck at the same time. शशि थरूर ने बढ़िया कहा है, इंडिया में सब समय एक साथ रहते. We have past, we have pre-history, proto-history, ancient, medieval, modern, all these times going on at the same time in India right now, right here. The city of Delhi, there are some people living in different eras. So my point is that when we say past or history, point है कि किसकी history. Change is not uniform. So we have not single past but multiple pasts. In our NCERT, I think you have read that NCERT, our pasts, right? Why was the past plural? Because people come from different regions, different communities with different historical experiences, and that kind of plurality of understanding should understand. There is no uniform history, and that is also the third point. That is an important point, plurality. There is no single layer. हरेक के अनुभव थोड़े थोड़े अलग रहे. I'll give a fantastic example that I love to quote. Think of Calcutta, the modern city that British created from scratch, and from Plassey onwards, though it was completely ruled by them. By 1947, it's been almost 200 years since Plassey. It's been almost 200 years of British colonial rule on the Bengali mind, the Bhadralok mind. उनकी memory जो थी was highly shaped, because if you say 200 years, you mean at least 7 to 8 generations. So they have lost the living memory of the pre-British era. They got thoroughly westernized, modernized, anglicized to some proportion. Now think of the last part of India which fell for British. अगर Bengal पहला part है, last part is Punjab. It is almost 100 years after that. In 1840s, Punjab was gone. In 1947, when India became independent, Punjab was colonized only for 100 years and not 200 years like Bengal. So the level to which British could penetrate, British could change social structure, they could exploit, they could teach Indians how to think, what to do, is very less, only 3-4 generations. So I will not be surprised अगर 1947 में एक कोई बूढ़ा सा आदमी पंजाब में होगा जिसकी उम्र 70-80 साल होगी, इसने अपने दादाजी से सुना होगा अंग्रेज के पहले क्या भारत था. लिविंग मेमोरी ऑफ प्री ब्रिटिश इंडिया was alive, at least for some families. So the change that British could impinge upon in Punjab is to less extent. Punjab में you will find even today lots of pre-British social ideas, feudal system, etc. It is still alive. So don't you think it is an important aspect for you to understand? जब आप बंगाल, पंजाब, whose history, what kind of history, the impact is different. So you have to understand that there is plural past and not single past.